They still don't see us. Oh yeah.
Yeah, the same.
Y aquí baja, ¿no? Empiezo de
The light will turn on. Hacia la izquierda.
creo que no.
I never talk English with you. Really.
Okay.
Yeah, I just never experienced that.
Okay.
I'm not sure what.
Like, do you think a lot of Russians have
Yeah,
experience
but,
between them?
but you
talking
do.
English?
Yes, we are online.
Great.
Great.
I see.
Great. Do you see us?
I see you.
Really great. Yeah, we can actually.
But it's
Yeah.
really slow.
It's supposed to. It's slow, like it's
Like
slower.
Delay.
The Netherlands people.
But you hear our voices in a proper timbre.
Like now I hear and I see that I'm making the tea.
There's
Alright.
a delay. There's a delay.
No. But that's all right. But
No.
I mean, our motions are not slow motions, you know.
No, it's okay.
All right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
everything.
That would go because.
There's a delay, so if I say a bad word or if we start to fight, then they can cut the camera quick. And
Yeah. That's what Snowden and Google does. Yeah, they have 15 minutes to cut our like phrases about terrorism. So,
Really?
exactly.
Interesting.
I guess it's made for exactly for that purpose. They might have
Yeah.
some special engine to just cut the crap. Yeah.
Hmm.
That requires 15 seconds.
I used to do a radio show with a friend, and there would be like a 5-second delay. But the only thing they cared about cutting was like bad words. Because it's America, you can't say bad words on the radio.
I mean, I just discovered that option with the Hangouts and the YouTube Live or whatsoever broadcast thing. I guess that they launched it like as they had it before as a commercial option, and now they launched it for consumers and like in the consumer level, and that really struck me like how huge step forward it is.
Yeah.
I mean, we didn't have it before.
Mm.
Skype wasn't like that. Yeah, nothing was like that. But definitely they would need something to like cope with the legislation in different countries with that.
Yeah.
Like, so that maybe 15 seconds would be enough. Do you hear us? All right, super cool.
Well, the thing is that, for example, here they cannot write any comments like
All right.
in YouTube. No?
How did the other guy did?
Hmm?
How did the other guy? I mean, we seen some comment there.
I don't know. Like I don't. Maybe I have to enter in my.
All right.
In my.
All right. Yeah, they see us too. All right. They see all our bullshit chat. All right. Let's go for that. Here we go. That's Peter Gilderos.
Hello.
Yeah. I'm Peter Slive. We are now in sunny Barcelona. It's snowing. It was snowing all day. Yeah. All right. Yeah, we are monitoring your questions. Так, по-русски. Мы будем, тут есть специальный человек, он прослеживает ваши комментарии в Ютубе и ВКонтакте, но вы должны их задавать. Это Питер Гилдерос. Задавайте ему ваши вопросы. Какие-то из вопросов мы уже прочитали, вот, и мы их немного обсудим, ну и поговорим всякое по мере возможности в неформальной атмосфере. Верно. Yeah, to begin with, I'm not sure you are quite aware that you are quite popular in ex-USSR, in particular in Russia, and that you said that you knew that some people were translating your books into Russian, but you weren't like. I got an idea you didn't really think that they got published or like in paper, you know.
Oh, no, I knew they were in paper because they sent me some copies of each book.
All right,
So
all right,
yeah,
good,
very
great.
well,
Yeah.
published.
Yeah. You totally entered the hipsters, you know, in Moscow. Yeah, they got really nice distributed there and through independent whatsoever bookstore system. Yeah, and yeah, you're a very appreciated author, and like eventually you kind of played uh, an interesting your text played some role and the attitudes toward what happening in the Ukraine currently
Uh-huh.
within the Russian-speaking community, anarchist community. So like they kind of uh yeah got some response within the community in a way.
Mhm.
Yeah. So I guess you most like know that work, which was translated into Russian, was how nonviolence protect the state,
Mhm.
and that was very interesting approach for Russian people, for Russian audience, let's say, in a way. That you were the first one among like the English speaking authors that we could have our grip on,
Mhm.
because yeah, in a way, more than let's say that would say those important words.
Mhm.
And like, was it at the time that you were thinking that it would be so important, and why you thought that it's important for international scene? Like, what made you write that?
Mhm.
Now, one second. Мой вопрос был, как на ненасилие защищать государство, и как человек пришел к выводу, что сейчас пришло именно время о том, чтобы заговорить на эту тему, несмотря на то, что не совсем очевидно, среди не так много других публикаций в альтернативной анархопрессе, ну, анархо-издательстве, которые бы шли в этом же направлении мысли. Вот. Go for that.
When I wrote the first book, How Nonviolence Protects the State, I wasn't thinking about the international context. And actually, when I first came to Europe and started living in Barcelona, I thought that the book probably would not be useful outside of the American context. You want to translate that? And then continue?
Когда я только начал писать эту книгу, я приехал как раз в Барселону, переехал, и я не был уверен, что это будет интересно вне американского контекста политического.
Primarily because it seemed to me that nonviolence was much more developed, had a much stronger hold over social movements in the United States than in most other countries that I was getting to know, especially in Spain.
Потому что я думал, что действительно тактика ненасилия среди активистской сцены – это некое наиболее распространенное представление о происходящем внутри американской сцены, а не в Европе, например, в Испании. Это как бы очевидно.
But then when these different large spontaneous social movements started occurring in different countries, like the Plaza occupation movement in Spain, also versions of Occupy in various countries, it became apparent that all of those people who hadn't participated in social movements before were effectively trained in nonviolence by the media, by the official histories of social movements, etc. So then it became apparent that actually it was very necessary to have strong criticisms of nonviolence, even in countries like Spain, where there's a long, relatively unbroken history of movements that use more combative tactics.
Но потом как раз начались все годы, когда массовых протестных движений в Европе и во всем мире, в частности, движение Окупай, оккупация площадей, и стало очевидно, что насколько сильно используют медиа, официальные медиа и легальные активисты идею, насколько они серьезно пропагандируют идею того, что единственный путь – это не насилие. И даже в таких странах, как в Испании, где есть история относительно не зачищена от таких моментов, все равно ненасилие принимало все более доминирующий характер, именно и представление о том, что это единственно допустимая тактика.
And then in 2013, I published another book on the same topic, The Failure of Nonviolence. And that one takes into account more recent events like the Plaza occupation movement, the Occupy movement, Arab Spring, and also focuses more on an international context.
И во второй книге, которая тоже посвящена этому сюжету, про провал ненасилия, тоже говорится о том, что как развивается сюжет, о том, как ненасилие действительно тактика ненасилия проявила себя во время массовых выступлений, в том числе там в Северной Африке и в Европе, и в Америке, и в других странах. Yeah, so you got an impression that even you first started that in a way that it's totally American context something, and then you just got an idea that Europeans are kind of also plugged with the same kind of understanding of things, even though their history is not that clean. Yeah, well, what exactly, for instance, for me was very important within the first book was that at the moment when you really reached to the roots of the racial context in the USA, and that you emphasized in a way that that nonviolent activist is not just middle classy or whatsoever, but it's racist, and that is a big thing in the U.S. and that maybe is not that big thing in the European whatsoever context, because the struggle of black people in the U.S. had so huge history whatsoever. You have a lot to operate within that context, and that is a very nice idea. And like particularly for me, that was a very good way to see what has happened after the crash of the Soviet Union in the Eastern countries, Eastern European countries. That we kind of switched to that state. People are cramped in the U.S. for ages, you know. Yeah, and that we're so coherent to their state, that ours. Yeah, and that I guess a lot of people shared that thing, and that was a very strong emphasis, I guess. And like my next questions would be like about if you are familiar with the Eastern European politics and like after the crash of the USSR, and like have you ever thought about it in a way that it's really the racial thing that you can emphasize, and I think that you thought it's coherent for the American situation, that it is would be prolonged so long way out in the Europe and things like that. I will translate it. Ну, то есть в книге «Как ненасилие защищает государство» я сказал, что лично мне наиболее понравился тот момент, когда говорится о расовом аспекте тактики ненасилия, не только о том, что люди, которые пропагандируют ненасилие внутри активистской сцены, принадлежат, допустим, к middle классу, а то, что они просто принадлежат некому классу, который неким качественно отличается от масс людей. И в Америке, разумеется, это когерентно представлению о белом меньшинстве и черном. Точнее, о белом большинстве и черном меньшинстве. И о том, как они... в Америке существует большая история черного сопротивления, представления о черной философии и о том, насколько качественно могут различаться эти слои. И я сказал то, что в Восточной Европе это можно найти серьезный отклик, именно это представление о том, что низы общества, допустим, или какая-то часть общества настолько отрезана от части общества, которая руководит системой, допустим, что это не какое-то количественное качество, допустим, богатства или социальных благ, а качественное. То есть, допустим, цвет кожи в США делает тебя помеченным от рождения, так и допустим, в странах бывшего соцлагеря какие-то признаки могут сделать тебя помеченным на всю жизнь. И спросил относительно того, насколько Питер знает ситуацию в Восточном блоке в бывшем СНГ. Yeah. For Eastern Europe.
I don't know enough about the former Soviet Union to write about it, but I lived for half a year in Ukraine. I've spoken with friends about the situation there. The impression that I have is that the Soviet Union had a very politically correct but very empty or superficial anti-racism and anti-sexism. That officially it was supposed to be a society without racism, without sexism, but just the same way that the Soviet Union failed to actually uproot capitalism. I have the feeling that they also failed to uproot racism and sexism. As for Western Europe, there seems to be a sort of distancing of the problem of racism. Most of the countries in Western Europe carried out their most flagrant acts of racism in colonies in Africa and South America and Asia, far away, whereas in the United States, all of the worst aspects of racism were domestic. They were because it was a country founded on colonization and on slavery. All of the problems were right there, so they were more evident. People had to deal with them more directly, whereas in Western Europe, at least there was less of this experience because the most egregious racist processes were happening in other countries in the colonies. I'm not sure to what extent that would also be the case in Russia.
I would just ask which were the year which was the year you spent in Ukraine?
That was the winter of 2006-2007.
Уф, ongoing goal. Yeah. Пьер говорит то, что он не очень хорошо знаком с политикой после падения СССР, хотя и жил в Украине зимой 2006 года в полгода, достаточно долго. Но у него сложилось впечатление, читая по истории Советского Союза и так далее, что когда речь заходит о расовых различиях, несмотря на то, что в корне советской идеологии было представление о равенстве всех цветов кожи и так далее, точно так же, как не удалось Советскому Союзу в действительности победить капитализм внутри общества, так им не удалось полностью выкорчевать расовые различия внутри общества. Что касается Европы, то расовый контекст в Западной, что касается Западной Европы, конечно, по Фрейду. Что касается Западной Европы, то очевидна разница расового вопроса здесь и в США, потому что здесь все общество неким образом ментально дистанцировалось от расового вопроса благодаря тому, что оно проводило расовую политику расовой сегрегации и дискриминации в колониях в течение десятилетий. А в США эти люди были колонизированы внутри общества. И это, конечно, представляет большую разницу, и поэтому мы имеем разную картину.
Wait a second. I don't know why, but it's not.
We got interrupted. Just right now.
Yeah, and people was writing in the comments that it's locked.
Logged. And now you hear it.
No, not yet.
Yeah.
We're writing some questions from the
Great. Do you hear us now? 15 seconds past.
It's stuff. It's not working. The problems there we cannot find server.